Hey Angela, who's the boss now? It's me, Tony Extravaganza. Ugh.
There is more to life than what you're living, so take a chance and face the wind. An open road and a road that's hit, a brand new life around the bend. There were times.
What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. Happy October, happy Halloween season. It is the best time of the year. This month we're going to be doing 31 Days of Horror. I'm going to try my best to get a video up each day of the month of October. But at the end of October, I'm going to be traveling for a week up in Colorado. I'm hoping to do some cool videos up there at the Stanley Hotel, you know, obviously from The Shining. It would be perfect setting for the Halloween season. So hopefully I'll get that video, do some live videos up there. The first part of this month, I want to really review movies I'm watching for the first time, like old horror flicks, newer horror flicks, whatever the case may be. I'm going to review a flick that I watched for the very first time. I believe I may have watched this back in the 80s. I don't remember, but we'll call it the first time. I'm talking about Sleepaway Camp from 1983, directed by Robert Hiltzik, and starring Felissa Rose, the iconic horror figure Angela. So in this time in the 80s, early 80s, you know, we already had this formula of, you know, slasher flicks going to camps. Obviously with the first, you know, the Friday the 13th films that came out, you know, really set the bar for films being made like this. And at this time we had The Burning as well. So, you know, we had the formula being at camp, you're showing up and people just start dying. And it's like a murder mystery, essentially, you know, with a lot of gore. So that's definitely the case with Sleepaway Camp. You know, it being an East Coast flick, there's a lot of New Jersey accents in this movie that I really appreciated. But it was a nice setup, so let's talk about it. So essentially, the premise is there's a boat accident. These two cousins are part of this accident that happens. They fast forward to when these kids are teenagers, and they're going away to camp. And Ricky is Angela's cousin. Ricky's mom is really odd. She's like, all right, kids, I've got your physicals here, off to camp. She's like really creepy, which we find out at the end of the film why she's a little weird. And but that's the setup, them going to camp and people just start dying, as you can imagine. For this time period, I mean, there's a lot of cheesiness in this film. There's a lot of bad acting, a lot of New Jersey or East Coast natives, you can tell. Hey, you see that girl over there? Come over here. The counselor's having, you know, the accents and the kids and shit like that. And there's like a really creepy chef or cook that works there. It's like a total pedophile. It's like, ooh, the new meat's coming in, boys. Ugh. And it's just like a really creepy setup. Thinking, you know, you can't really have a movie like this in 2018. Everybody's so sensitive these days, and you know, these topics like this. And it just wouldn't work, but it works in 1983, and they're able to pull it off in Sleepaway Camp. The end of the first act is when people start dying. Random people around the campsite, you know, really great practical effects. One of the best parts of this film is the effects work. Certain scene with like boiling water, or somebody getting cut through like the shower, or a sequence with these bees and a beehive, you know, just a lot of great kill scenes. And throughout the film, we're, you know, trying to figure out who's doing this. And throughout the story, they kind of pointed at Ricky, which is Angela's cousin, and he's the one killing all these people. But in all reality, we find out at the end of the movie who it really is. From the point of view, you're not sure if it's a guy or a girl. And throughout the movie, you try to figure that out. But the point of view shots are pretty cool. They definitely took a lot from the first Halloween movie when Michael was a young kid in the beginning of the movie. It's like through his eyes in the mask, and he grabs the knife. They kind of did that with Sleepaway Camp. You see them picking up the murder weapon and then killing. And throughout the film, it sets up other characters. You know, the snobby, bitchy teenagers that, you know, are a part of a clique, and they're always trying to get Angela. And Angela's a weird character, you know, she's seen as such a horror icon these days. You see her on t-shirts, you know, posters, things like that. You know, the infamous, you know, smile that Angela does in this film. But with that being said, she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. She's really quiet. She's a really quiet person throughout the first two acts of the film. I don't even think she talks until the second or third act of the movie. But there's something really sinister about Angela's character, just with her being quiet and her big eyes. there's something very eerie about her and something off. Angela meets Ricky's friend. He's another local boy at the camp. They kind of hit it off, and it leads up to the end of the movie, which is really fantastic because the boy did some pretty shitty things to Angela, and you can see that she's very angry through these eyes and what's happened to her at this camp, and you know, trying to figure out why she's there in the first place. And all the really terrible characters, like in most horror films, you know, they die in the best way because there's so many terrible people that go to this camp. All these teenagers are just assholes, and the guy running the camp's like this old Guido with a cigar. You know, just a lot of stupid characters that you're happy to see die. And that's pretty much it. Going into Sleepaway Camp, not knowing too much, I know they talk about it in a lot of the Facebook horror movie groups I'm part of, you know, especially Killer Flicks. My friends over at Killer Flicks always talking about this film, so I'm lucky enough to finally watch it and review it for you guys. I had a great time with it. You know, the practical effects, the kill scenes were top notch. I loved Angela's character, Felissa Rose. She's an excellent actress. Too bad she didn't do the second and third Sleepaway Camps in the franchise, but she was great in the first one. Absolutely loved her character. I can see why she's a horror icon. But probably one of the coolest horror movie twists of all time is at the end of the first Sleepaway Camp, you know, with the story of the kids in the beginning, and I was talking about how the mom's really weird and off. We find out later at the very end of the movie that Angela is actually a boy. She like turns around, she has a dick, and she's like holding her boyfriend's head. She beheaded her boyfriend, and she's like, ah! And it was so cool. It's such a twist that I didn't see coming. Overall, I'm going to give 1983 Sleepaway Camp a 3 out of 5 hair pieces. So what do you guys think of Sleepaway Camp? What's your favorite film in the franchise? Do you guys like the first one? What do you guys think of Angela? What did you guys think of that twist at the end? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from some camp in Jersey somewhere. Until the next video in 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!